Hi, and welcome again to VR for Work. Today is July 20th, 2020. My name's Rick, and I'm your host here at VR for Work. Today is a special episode of VR for Work. We're revisiting an application we had first taken a look at several weeks back called Immersed. Now, Immersed is an application we would place in that content creation and communication category. It is designed as a desktop emulator for accessing your PC, your Mac, or your Linux system from within VR. The idea is to place the user in an environment that stimulates flow or getting in the zone, and then providing them with all the resources that the PC or the Mac or the Linux machine and VR can bring to bear. And getting all that unnecessary fluff out of the way and helping people get things done in VR. Now, this is the kind of stuff that gets VR for Work excited. So we're eager to bring you this material today. The dev team behind Immersed has been really hard at work on the app. There's a lot of new features to see. So let's get to the demo and take a look. I'm going to move across the stage here, grab my monitors, and we will get started. Okay, let's get you focused on the desktop, and that looks good. All right, so an Immersed update today. Update on the application Immersed. And I selected this slide because I really do feel like Immersed expands the horizon of what you can consider possible and do in VR. And so with that, what's going on over at Immersed? Well, lots of stability and performance fixes. So there's a lot of things behind the scenes that the team has done to make the application stable enough and functional enough that a user would want to get in there for several hours, as I have done, and really work and get things done. A lot of graphical enhancements to the environments and to the system. A lot of network and connectivity performance improvements. And now on the PC side, multiple virtual monitors on demand. Those of you in the Mac world who've maybe used Immersed in the past have had this for a while, but we're getting it now in the PC world, and we'll show you that in a second. And then an in-app camera for video conferencing from within Immersed, another really powerful feature. So let's jump in and take a look. So we're going to open up the app from within our Oculus Quest headset. You get the little loading icon. I love that. The user floating on a cloud with monitors in front. There is a new kind of loading app, brings you into the environment. And then here we are. So you'll see my screen kind of pop up in front of me. And there'll be frequently I'll try to get the monitor out of the way so that you can spend a second just looking at the environments, because in this particular one where I tend to work, right, it's a starship, a spaceship circumnavigating the globe, which looms larger than you can imagine off to your right, and you've got the hum of the engines behind you. There's your pilot seat or your productivity seat, and then you can float your monitors in front of you. And this is just something I really, I don't know what happened here. Still going? All right, quite sure what happened. Sorry about that. let's jump ahead a bit. And so what I wanted to do, okay, so we looked at the ship, and we've got our monitor, we've got our keyboard off to the right. And again, these environments are just so conducive to cutting out all distractions. You kind of have this hum of the machinery, the engines in the background, and focusing on what's in front of you. And so I'm going to pull up, now the first thing I'm going to do is pull up the Immersed control panel by pressing down on my right joystick. That brings up this little control panel, and now on the control panel in Windows, you have a camera. And when you bring up the Immersed Webcam, it floats there in front of you. You can move it around. And I'm going to launch into a Zoom session just to show you what the camera sees. And here I am. And so Immersed uses your Oculus avatar. It pulls it into the scene. And then whoever you're on the call with actually sees you in the environment that you particularly happen to be in. And I can rotate this camera around. You can kind of see what's behind me. And of course, anybody that were to be on the call with me would also see this. And then I would have full functionality of my monitors in front of me to share my screen if I wanted to, or whatever I might need to do. All right, so that was one of the big enhancements. So I don't have to jump out of Immersed or use a different application. When I were to get into a video conference call, Immersed has it all there for me. All right, and again, just showing you that icon, we'll click it and camera goes away. All right, now, the other part of the secret sauce that the Immersed teams brought to bear, the multiple virtual monitors. So I'm going down here now to my task tray, clicking and bringing that up, and there's a little orange Immersed icon there now. That's there after you launch it on your desktop the first time. I go to settings, and then right down here it says enable virtual monitor or virtual display 1. I click that. Now the displays disappear for a moment in time, and then when they come back, I have my physical monitor and 1 virtual monitor. Now I have no other monitors connected to the laptop that I'm using at this time, right? And then I'm going to go down, and now I see display or enable virtual display 2. So I'm going to click that. Again, the monitors will flicker momentarily, and when they come back, I have 1, 2, 3. So now I've added 2 virtual monitors to my physical monitor, and I can locate them anywhere around me in space. And we're going to keep going. Let's see how far we can push this. Settings, let's enable virtual monitor 3. And so it takes a moment. They will flicker, and then I'll have 1, 2, 3, and here's 4. So there's my 3rd virtual monitor running out there in space. And again, all of these monitors have the ability for me to position them, to change their size, rotate them from landscape to portrait, change their resolution. And we're going to go enable virtual display 4. Again, another brief flicker. And let's grab it. There it is. And give it a moment. And there they are. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 5 monitors now in front of me that I can position, manipulate, move around, resize, portrait, landscape, resolution, take your pick. And I'm just going to give a quick demo where I'm going to grab the Immersed client and kind of move it. You can see kind of me moving them between all the monitors. And all the other Immersed settings that we had seen previously are still there. So once I get all these monitors, if I were going to use all 5, I could bring up the Immersed control panel and actually save up to 4 different configurations for how I want to position these. And then when I come back into Immersed, I can select any one of those 4 positions and the monitors would pop into place. Now what I'm doing is I'm just actually shutting down the monitors one at a time. So just uncheck, enable them, and one by one, they'll go away. And I'm getting the monitors out of the way because I wanted to share with you some of the enhancements to some of the virtual environments that you're now able to work in within Immersed. And again, a lot of the same functionality that we had talked about previously continues to be there. So you can go into, certainly this is my personal workspace where I tend to get in and I'll do work individually, but there's a lot of areas, and we're going to go into a few now, where you might want to meet with a group or a team and actually get some other things done. So you can see, I think there's maybe 6 public rooms. And by public, you can still go sit in these areas. And if you haven't changed your security settings off of individual, no one will be able to bother you while you're in these areas. But if I make myself public, I would be able to see other folks. They would be able to see me. This is the Immersed Cafe. Again, everything has gotten this really nice graphical polish, right? So you see the waterfall over there, and you have this kind of background noise that's very pleasant. That's always in there with you. And again, the idea is to put you in this place, in this location, where you can find this flow or this zone you can get into for work. And that's extremely valuable when you're working within VR. This is a little coffee shop cafe, another place I like to go sit sometimes. You've kind of got this jazzy music score looping in the background. But I like this kind of coffee shop vibe. I've also met with a couple of other folks while in Immersed, and this is, sometimes I'll call up my son and ask him to fire up Immersed and meet me in the coffee shop. And we'll go here and we'll just sit and talk. So it's actually really fun and really pleasant. But of course, I also pull this up and might knock out a couple of emails while I'm here. I think we're going to go into the cave of productivity next. And again, this is that kind of situation or sense of isolation, and you're in this kind of cartoony cave. You've got the clouds and the opening and a rope, like you've climbed down into here from above. And again, you've got the waterfall and a river. And those very pleasant, relaxing sounds going on behind you. I think we're going to go into the cloud chamber next. Now this is a very kind of Zen setting that you can sit in, like you're floating in above the clouds. You have this very Zen hum of music in the background. Again, nothing to disturb you, nothing to get in your way, and just full focus on what's in front of you. I think this is going to be the ski lounge or the alpine lounge. And again, these, the colors have just gotten sharper. Now this one, you just have a little bit of a crackling fire background noise. But again, just, and you would find yourself, as I have, after you're sitting there and maybe you've knocked out some emails or a document or you're coding, just kind of staring off for a minute. And that really does help with your concentration and your thought process. This next area, back to the coffee shop. As you can see, I kind of like the coffee shop. Ended up going there twice. And then there's a lot of other environments that you can go sit in. I think we're going to go to the Space Lounge next. And much like the spaceship we started in, this is kind of a lounge where you might meet with people in. And again, you're kind of floating above a rotating Earth. You've got this hum of engines and air units in the background. This area got a really nice graphical upgrade. Everything's really just sharper, more defined. Those little digital screens tend to move. Very nice. I'd like to come sit here also. And then I think the Alpine Chalet. Yep. So we'll get the monitors out of the way, looking out over the mountains. Again, you've got the fire in the background. Just a very modernistic, minimalistic room. You Westworld fans may appreciate that art on the wall and some snow lightly falling outside. Again, something that's just very relaxing and conducive to concentration. There's a number of 360 photos. So if you don't want a room per se or a location, you can just go float out in space. Now, this is for those of you who really don't want any kind of background noise, any kind of distraction whatsoever. You're just literally kind of floating in air with nothing but your screens in front of you. I tend to like an environment around me, so I tend to use one of the other locations. I think we're going to go back to the Starship to end things. Let's see. Oh, nope. We're back on the space station. Okay. And so, you know, that rounds out kind of what you'll be seeing. We've got the whiteboard that's still here, and it's gotten a few enhancements in terms of undo, last action, a trash. I can't remember if the trash can was there before or not, but you get the idea with this. And I think eventually you'll be able to save the contents of it. The control panel out here in front, largely the same that we've seen before. Again, you can save your screen layouts now up to 5 screens in 4 different scenarios. And yeah, I mean, just fantastic. Very excited about all these updates. So let's take a look. And I'm stealing some slides from a previous presentation that I've done, talking about just in general the advantages of working in VR and what Immersed brings to the table. Again, there's this use of tactile sensors, right? This ability to kind of reach out and move or point and control your environment with the monitors and where you want them and their location and positioning and size. Very simplified control scheme, right? You've got the controls around each monitor, bring them to the foreground, bring them to the background. Ergonomics, you know, when I work in Immersed, I'm sitting in a recliner chair. Extremely comfortable, and I can get those monitors positioned directly where I need to, so I'm not craning my neck or having to be in an awkward position to compute. And then there's this gamification of the environment. It is just fun to be there. I don't know how else to say it. I just enjoy and look forward to being able to jump into Immersed and kind of get to work, if you will. Now, I use a different kind of input. Immersed is designed for users to use their keyboard and mouse with. I use my mouth and use voice input. So I use the Microsoft dictation features that are built in there. Again, I have a presentation on that you could go watch. And I've also started to play around with a third-party voice dictation system that allows me to control my desktop more with voice. And then just this whole removal of distractions that helps you reach a flow state. And a flow state is, you know, defined here, a blissful state of balance where you are fully immersed in a task. I didn't put that word in there. Immersed didn't put that word in there. You know, this is taken directly from the quote that I referenced below. It's a blissful state of balance where you are fully immersed in a task, completely free from distracting thoughts. Flow states enable you to enjoy your work and perform at the peak of your potential. Research shows people working in a state of flow are 5 times more productive than they'd be otherwise. This is the kind of information and thing that really gets our juices flowing here at VR for Work. It excites me, and it's something that I have found to be true in my time working within VR. So I really encourage you, if you have any curiosity about this process at all, that you go try out Immersed. And usually I end with a quote, but this is a quote. You can quote VR for Work with this, right? Immersed is the state of the art in personal computing productivity for VR. Right now, without a doubt, Immersed is that product that if you have any desire or any intent to work within VR and leverage the advantages of computing with a VR headset, is where you should start. And so you heard that from VR for Work. Quote us on that. And thank you again for being with us. We hope you'll return and visit us again as we bring you more content in the future. Thank you. Be well. Bye.